West Virginia is in line to get one of the greatest offensive line coaches in the history of the game in Rick Trickett. What are the dominoes that set this off, and what is he going to do on the staff? We're going to discuss all that and more as West Virginia gets a huge.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about Mountaineer football again tonight, and we are excited to do it here with you. And wasn't expecting this news. I actually it's how I know I need to do better. I fell asleep sitting in my chair for like 2 hours, and I was supposed to be doing another video, and I woke up because I had an order coming through DoorDash delivery or whatever from groceries, and then this news had broken. So kind of good timing, but I missed a video. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Going to be brought to you by our friends at Reuniting, guys. And if you're not familiar with Reuniting, let's get you familiar with them, guys, because right now with Reuniting, you can pretty much guarantee you this. If you want to be in the middle of it right now, if you've been thinking about taking that next step, now's the time. Head to reuniting.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Reuniting ready, feel present, feel confident, and feel ready. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Rick Trickett, one of the greatest offensive line coaches ever to do it, back in Morgantown. And Matt Zenitz of CBS, I believe it's CBS. Let me make sure I get that right. Let's see. Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports reporting West Virginia is expected to hire veteran offensive line coach Rick Trickett as a member of its staff. Sources tell CBS Sports Trickett, who worked for Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia during the golden years from 01 to 06, now in line to reunite with Rodriguez at West Virginia, had been working at Jack State, who just had another 2,000-yard rusher. So multiple things about this obviously excite you. Not to mention Cam Cook. That gives you a really good Cam Cook connection. He also knows what Cam Cook, the running back from Jack State, who just ran for close to 2,000 yards last year. Obviously, really good news. Wish it could have happened a year sooner, but it didn't. Now, if you'll notice, he just said hired to be a part of the staff. I'm assuming because most of the contracts run out in 3 days. Some run out in February. They can't necessarily say anybody's fired yet, but I'm assuming that he'll come on to be the O-line coach. Maybe they keep Bicknell. I don't know. Maybe they keep them both. I don't see that happening, but why would he leave an offensive line coaching job to be an assistant? But maybe he would, just to come home and relax and just kind of be an assistant. On the O-line. Either way, we'd have to feel better about the offensive line going forward, where Rick able to help day to day. But that said, let's jump into the breakdown and all the other things here, because obviously this isn't just a casual coaching relationship, right? Rich Rodriguez trusts Rick Trickett implicitly, and that matters. From 01 to 06, Rick Trickett was the offensive line coach, the run game architect, the tone setter for our entire offense. Rich Rod's spread option does not work without elite line play. And Trickett was the coach who made it function. The relationship was built on zone blocking precision, relentless physicality, conditioning and discipline, and accountability in the trenches. Rich Rod handled the scheme. Trickett makes sure the engine never stalled. Rich Rodriguez handled the discipline. Rick Trickett was right in line behind him, making sure the offensive line was the most disciplined on the team every single year. That trust followed them elsewhere. And now it's back in Morgantown. This is a monster move for West Virginia. Get excited because this is it. This is one of the missing pieces for us. We all knew it. We knew Mr. Bicknell was not the answer. And I'll take a 78-year-old Rick Trickett over anybody. I'll share this with you now. I had a guy tell me, let me see if he texted me back yet. So it's looking like that's cool, man. I'm going to ask if I can share this live. Can I share this with my audience live? I'm talking to somebody that you guys would find this cool, but I don't want to share it without asking first. I get ahead of myself with that. But yeah, so obviously for me, man, it's like, how can you be better than Rick Trickett coming back home, right? And it's just in time to coach one of the best talents you've ever had. Like that had to be a chip, right? Hey, Rick, you want to coach one of the best offensive linemen in the country? How about we, how about we get you hooked up with this kid named Kevin Brown really quick, right? And all that. So I think they definitely, not that he probably needed much of a bargaining chip, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff, man. I'm really excited about it. I think this is going to be a one that we're going to look back on in 6 months and say, thank God we did that. Literally the only negative thing you could even say about it is he's 78. That's it. And it is old, right? I will share this. So I've known that this was probably going to happen for a couple of weeks, but I wasn't sure because I knew Rich Rod was swinging younger and bigger too. If he could get Garen Justice or whoever, I'm not saying Garen Justice, I'm just using him as an example, and let Rick probably retire. But I think they swung and missed on some guys. And so, they've had to do this. And that doesn't mean that Rick wasn't the best option. It's just that he's 78. That's it, and the last thing he wanted to have to do is move to the cold weather and have to do this. But listen, like we say, man, I had somebody tell me the other day, Rick Trickett still does 300 body squats a day. He still does a bunch of exercises. He's still in great shape. He's still tough as nails. And he said he's still mentally clear and all there. Like it's just like he said, it's just like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, talking to him. So he said there's no, he hasn't changed. So that's a good thing. And he gets to coach with his other, with Travis now for a bit. You got to coach with Clint. Now you can maybe go out coaching with Travis. It's a pretty cool deal. I wonder too, how long this is going to be. This may be a 1-year thing. I mean, he's going to be 80 soon. Look, if there are people that live full productive lives through their 80s, it's just rare, especially in a sport like football where, you can teach offensive line without doing the various techniques, I guess. It's just more difficult. I guess you can use, that's what Coach Dressler was for. Like what I mean by teaching O-line is like, if I need to show you how to do something, on a sled or something, maybe, I don't know. I'm stretching, but obviously a guy who does 300 body weight squats a day is probably pretty capable of doing everything you can need him to do. But yeah, here's another thing too. Let's talk after. Actually, let's go to break. I'm too excited, guys. Because let's look back at some of the good O-lines these guys have had together, and some of the O-lines Coach Trickett has coached. Because it gets pretty ridiculous when you look at the numbers. We'll be right back. This episode is going to be brought to you by our friends at Rugiet Ready. Right now with Rugiet, guys, it's a pretty simple thing. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, and life. Well, it doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, when you're trying to get it on, Rugiet Ready is designed to help you take that control back. Rugiet Ready is a next generation prescribed treatment created to support both the brain and body. You can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rugiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients into one mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You connect with a board certified doctor online and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have made that switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment's right. If you've been thinking about the next step, now's the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time with Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, and feel ready. It's segment 2. Let's crack open this dude, y'all. This is a good brand new. This is a brand new ski right here, too. A brand new ski dooski. All right. So, if you're just joining in, yes, it's official. Coach Rick Trickett is back in Morgantown. No, Jack McNeil not fired yet, but his contract hasn't run out yet. That's probably all that's stopping that from happening. But I mean, maybe there's a world where he stays on as well. I don't want to say, otherwise for sure, but you know, I don't know, man. I just even hate the process of talking about taking, no, not taking somebody's job, but like wishing somebody's job was taken. It just sucks, man. But at the end of the day, I guess we just have to be a little bit. He's going to be coaching our paid players now, right? So we have to accept whatever happens there. I mean, listen, the job that he did this year, you can't defend it. Even in a bad year, the lineups, right? I've said it multiple times. Maybe he's a good coach, but he's not good with personnel. I don't know. It was bad. So, hold on one second here. All right. So I have some numbers here to share with you guys about past O lines between Rich Rod and Rick Trickett. So they have had just a ton of success together. And sorry, I'm so distracted because I'm getting text messages from people that I wanted to share with you guys what they were saying. 1 second here. I'm getting a response. All right. So, yeah, okay, good. Talking to Tim Brown right now. Obviously, that's who I was talking to a few minutes ago. And he said, I wanted to share this with you guys. He said, just hearing about it now, Kevin's looking forward to playing for him. He's heard stories about Rick Trickett forever. And, this is something that is so cool for them as a family because Tim obviously was a really good player under Coach Trickett and has so many memories of what it was like playing for him. And now it's literally coming full circle 30 years later for him. And Kevin's potentially going to be better than Tim was. And, just the possibilities of all that it's pretty cool. I think it is. So we'll definitely, at least in my opinion, see some results early. I would imagine, because there's no way that Rick Trickett doesn't make an immediate impact on this offensive line. And just think, guys, imagine this: given Rick Trickett elite players or really good players, we're at least hoping. I'm looking through the portal numbers today. Actually, I wanted to do more on this earlier, but I was so tired on stream earlier. My eyes were so heavy on stream earlier because I haven't been sleeping very good. Um, I was having trouble staying awake. I had to get off. But now that I took a little nap, I feel better. But I was trying to look through some of the numbers that they're paying players right now on three, because it's pretty crazy, some of the numbers that are out there, but also they seem reasonable. And I think West Virginia can field a really good offensive line this year. When you look at the top 100 guys in the portal right now, what are they getting paid? Well, we're going to look at that here in a second too. As far as the offensive lines, okay, let me get to this. So the first year under Rich Rodriguez in 01, they were 3-8, but they were top 50. They were 181 rushing yards a game. Total offense was top 50, 345 a game, and they averaged 21 points a game, which wasn't great. 2002, they were 9-4, big, huge improvement, right? They went to 283 rushing yards a game, 418 yards a game, top 20. 283 was ranked sixth, and 30 points a game. 2003, they were 8-5, 212 yards a game, 369, which was middle of the pack in the country, and 28.9 points per game. And then 05, when they were 11-1, 272 yards a game, was third in the country, top 30 in total yardage, and 32.1 points per game. The best overall line was absolutely the 06 offensive line, right? That group paved the way for the nation's number one rushing offense, which had Pat White, who had 1,200 rushing yards. Steve Slaton had 1,700. And obviously the physicality of that offensive line and the blocking and that excellence defined the Rodriguez Trickett era, earning widespread praise for their explosive plays, while also protecting in a pretty good passing system at the time for what they had built into it. Dan Moses was obviously an All-American. He won the Remington Award, and was really good. You had guys like Jeremy Sheffy, really good players on those teams. And if you look back to the 06 team that beat Georgia, the one part of the team that wasn't physically outmatched, even though we won that game, what was it, 30? I can't remember what it was now. Georgia was coming back at the end. We went up really, really by 2-3 scores early, maybe even 4. And then Georgia was making their comeback, and it was clear, like, oh, shoot, they've got better athletes than us, except for one place, and that was our offensive line. Our offensive line still dictated the entire pace of that game. I'll still never forget Chris Fowler, right? Oh, Slaton's in the open field. He's got great speed. That's one of the best calls ever, man. Oh, God. So, but here's the thing. If you want to look at these offensive lines, they were known for toughness. They were known for being consistent. They were definitely nationally ranked rushing offenses. And then don't even get me started on Jack State, right? I mean, good Lord. It's at a little lower of a level, but I mean, dude, they had some really good offensive lines the past couple years recently. If you look at from 2022 to 2024, they had a top 5 offense, 250 rushing yards a game. Obviously, high 30s in points per game, top 10 in scoring offense. They had to debut in FBS. They went 9-4. How about that? New Orleans Bowl win, 236 yards per game, really good ground game. It's another high 30s year for them as far as how good were they as a team. And then you look at guys like Traylon Brown, Clay Webb, Will Osteen, who was elite for them on the offensive line that year. And then the best year that they had was in 2004 or 2024, where they went 9-4, won the Cure Bowl, and averaged 260 yards a game rushing. Just insanity. Almost 40 points per game. Tyler Huff had 1,300 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns. Trey Stewart, 1,600 yards and 23 touchdowns. Both tops nationally. And then you looked at Clay Webb and Will Osteen again, who were just elite offensive linemen for them. Those were all Rick Trickett and Rich Rod-led offensive lines. Let's go. What do you know about them Mountaineers? Whew. I'm with you, Earth Ether. I can't hardly contain myself either. Like, let's put the whole game back together, and it's punching time. We're going to start punching on dudes. We're going to start clobbering guys. We're going to, I'm going to be like the guy from the 60s. Here's what we're going to do, Sam. We're going to be in a big trouble. We're going to make big trouble. You know what I mean? Those accents. Here's what we're going to do, Sam. We're going to pump them full of lead. We're going to make big trouble for them. Big trouble. It's going to be like that. Or like, and here's old Coily going around the corner. What's that from? Like those old Notre Dame. I think it's the old Notre Dame footage. It sounds like that. And yeah, here's what we're going to do, man. Sit straight. Sit with your back straight. You know, like, I don't know. I can't remember all the stuff, but I can do the accent pretty good. Here's what we're going to do, see? We're going to make a big fuss of it. We're going to make big trouble. We're going to make big trouble. They don't like that. We'll pump them full of lead. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Barwas isn't coming back. And for those of you listening, I'm reading a comment that somebody talking about Barwas. Coach Barwas was the former strength coach who currently owns his own gym center. I don't even know what you want to call it, but he owns a strength and conditioning training center out in Arizona or somewhere like that right now. Last I looked, but yeah, he's definitely one of those guys you look at. It's like, okay, I'm excited about him. But at the end of the day, I think I have a couple takeaways from this. And, you know, we talked about the zone blocking, the relentless physicality, the conditioning, discipline. You know, Rich Rod brought the conditioning and the discipline, and then Coach Trickett doubled down on it for the offensive line and made sure there was accountability in the trenches. Rich Rod handled the scheme. Trickett made sure the engine never stalled. And that's followed them elsewhere, like Jacksonville State, like we said. So if you want to be one of the best rushing teams in America, consistently rank near the top in rushing yards per game, and be feared because of how physical you are, you got to find a Pat White. You got to find a Steve Slaton. And that way you can embarrass defenses that can't handle the tempo and the toughness. The two T's, the tempo and the toughness. These offensive lines are not going to be flashy. They're going to be effing nasty, right? If I could say it, I would. Hallmarks are this: linemen who could move laterally, perfect timing on your zone steps. Go watch any Rich Rodriguez, Rick Trickett offense and watch the offensive line when they take their zone steps, which is just, especially in zone, there's a lot of lateral movement and trying to get angles on guys. It's not overpowering guys as much as I'm getting in your way so this guy can run that way. But if you've got elite players that can knock people back, then that helps great, because then you can run gap and trap as well. And then it gets really, really bad for people, because when you can run zone, gap, and trap, good luck, sweetheart. It's over with. We're running up down your neck for 275. It's going to look like kind of like how I liken it to how Utah looked against us last year. I felt like we were totally outmatched by them. They got 3 NFL offensive line on their offense, and they were running with 11 and Devin Dampier, and there was no chance we were stopping it. And that's why I was watching that game. I was thinking, someday we're going to be that again. Someday we're going to look like that again. And I can't wait for that day. It keeps me going. Like, those of us that are in here right now, the 200 or so of us that are in here talking about this, know that we live for those days where we were so good at running the football, being nasty, being physical. It's just like our Press Virginia teams in a way. And we identify with that nature of being West Virginians and that being associated with us because it's like a reflection of who my dad was. My dad was a guy that had one arm and missing a finger on this hand. And I watched him build houses and never use it for as an excuse and make jokes about it. And was just tough as freaking nails, I watched him take a Palomino horse up on its hind legs, have it fall and break his sternum. And he got up and whooped the horse's hind end, I guess, after that or whatever. But so that's what we are as West Virginians, man. At least our folks were, the people we grew up watching were, the offensive lines we grew up watching were. And there are very few tandems out there. If you want a real hard edge and you want a real edge against teams, coach them like this next year's team and the year after, hopefully, you're going to get coached. It's going to be a bad time for people because you're going to have linemen that can move laterally. They're going to have perfect timing on their zone steps. Their second level blocks are going to punish linebackers and safeties. And they're going to have a mentality that wears teams down in the fourth quarter. You're going to pull teams into the deep waters. And the identity is still what West Virginia fans want back. That identity. I'm going to drag you into deep water and I'm going to drown you. And I'm going to use you for a buoy while I sit there and drink lemonade. Like, that's it, right? This is not a ceremonial hire. We'll go to break and put a bow on this right after this and talk why it's not ceremonial. This is legit. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends from FanDuel. And with FanDuel, guys, if you didn't know, now you know. Fridays feel altogether different right now during basketball season. And FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night before the game tips off because FanDuel gives new fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises, and the timing is perfect for you because right before the games, right before the weekend starts, right? That's a pretty good timing. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app. See what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. The NBA's Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Basketball Association. One more drink could do. And let's put a bow on this one, baby. We're going to be doing a back-to-back episode here because I fell asleep. I didn't get to do. West Virginia's got a really good freshman safety that has mutual interest with them. Talked with the agency earlier and got permission to talk about it and kind of what the details are there. So I'm going to be, as soon as I click end on this, I've already got the thumbnail made for it. All I've got to do is just pop a live up and we're going to roll right back into another video. It'll be back to back. If you guys will stick around for me, we'll talk about this player tonight if you want me to. If you guys want to go to bed, let me know in the comments really quick since there's so many watching. Let me know in the comments how you feel. Do you guys want to go back to back and hear about this new player that I posted about earlier? Obviously he was a freshman safety last year, had a really good year for Robert Morris and is a very good player. He actually caused a fumble against West Virginia. There's mutual interest. So if you guys want me to go back to back, we'll do that. All right, let me know in the comments, and I'll check them out here in a second. Just say yes or no if you're going to bed. All right, so Rick Trickett. Here's what. Let's just talk a little bit about what Rick Trickett brings before we get off here, and exactly what we need to return. Because like I said, under Rick Trickett's tenure, here's what we became. This is it. West Virginia became one of the best rushing teams in America, consistently ranked near the top or the top nationally in yards per game, like I said. And the offense was feared because of how physical it was. Feared because of how physical it was. This was a foundation that allowed Pat White to thrive, Steve Slaton to explode, Darius Raynaud to juke and jive, and West Virginia to embarrass defenses that could not handle the tempo and the toughness. Like I said, right? So I loved how nasty they were, right? And we talked about the hallmarks there. And what does Rick Trickett bring? A decades of Power 4 and Group of 5 experience, a deep understanding of modern defensive fronts. He's adaptable. He's coached through multiple offensive evolutions now at this point. And most recently in Jack State, he was still doing what he's always done, developing linemen, teaching fundamentals, and demanding physical dominance up front. For a West Virginia program rebuilding its identity here in year 2, this matters as much as anything else. To have a guy that knows how to develop linemen, teach fundamentals, and demand physical dominance up front. This may sound simple. You may think every offensive line coach brings that to the table. Clearly not. Didn't happen this past year at all. So you want somebody that's going to give your linemen clear technique, consistent coaching, and someone who understands how to tie the run game with everything else, and maybe teach a life lesson or two at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we just want to win the line of scrimmage again. That's it. That's it, guys. All I want for Christmas is the line of scrimmage. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far away from here type thing. Like, I want to win the line of scrimmage again. I'm getting a little dramatic here, but I'm excited, guys. Not about gimmicks. It's not about the flash. Like, this is about punching you in the effing face. And physical football, controlling games, giving your quarterback a chance, playing with 11 like Rich Rod says, and making the run game not only dependable, but freaking fun again. Fun again. Can we have fun again? Can we please go back to how it used to be just for 1 or 2 years before football changes again? Good Lord. I want to just win the Big 12 once or twice, and be what we were supposed to be. I just want to gloat one more time. It's not even about gloating. It's just about self-actualization as a fan, I guess. I don't know. The locker room needs it. The offensive line room needs it. The program identity needs it, man. Mountaineer fans should recognize that immediately, and I think they do. My final thought is this. Rick Trickett coming back to West Virginia isn't just a reunion. It's a statement, because a statement like that can make West Virginia tougher, smarter up front, and it can also reconnect us with what's made this program freaking special. A fan base that remembers the Pat White era, the Slaton era, the dominance in the trenches, feels like something real to me, and now it is freaking real. It's not Dana Holgerson, and no, we don't want you guys back here anymore. It's not Neil Brown, and it's not, we're not saying you can't come back, but we're not inviting you back. It's freaking Rich Rodriguez, who invites everybody back the week he gets back to an all-encompassing party of every program that's been happening, the last 30 years, right? Everybody came back. Why? Because Rich Rod knows how it works, and apparently those other two didn't know how it works. This is Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast for the Mountaineers. Obviously, we're going to be covering the Mountaineers every single day here, twice, 3 times a day on the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this one. I definitely got a little excited for this one, but this is one that means a lot to us. And, this signifies a lot. Hopefully a changing of the guard. Definitely deserve to see our guys succeed in gold and blue again. And there's no better guy to get it done than Rick Trickett, a guy that can whip most of our asses at this point, even at 78 years old. So For those of you asking, Coach McNeil's and other people's contracts, it's not going to be just Coach McNeil, by the way. Their contracts run out in a few days. Now, look, I could see a couple scenarios here. I could see them keep Coach McNeil on to do the recruiting, maybe, and let Coach Trickett coach the offenses. It could be co-offensive line coaches, maybe. Maybe because Coach Trickett's 78 now, and maybe just give him a break from coaching for 50, 60 years. Or they're just going to make him the guy again, which I hope they do. But, I don't think McNeil is a bad recruiter. As a matter of fact, I've talked to multiple players that say he's not. I just think that him being in control of the lineup, especially, was what bothered me last year the most, more than anything. I have no idea what he does technique-wise and what he teaches. I was willing to give him if you're asking me, I was of the opinion I was always willing to give him a break from year one of how bad we were. That really has nothing to do with it to me. In year one, we just didn't have the players to be any good. What pisses me off is you kept the same lineup for all 12 games that you possibly could, unless there was something out of your control, injuries or something like that. That's the only time it changed, really. I mean, you rotated guys in throughout the game, sure, but, as far as the starting offensive line, it was Takis Crawford and Kimo Akiniole or death, and you chose death, apparently, because now you're probably booted out of here. But I just don't get why that after we ran for 250 yards on Houston, I'm going to say this for the rest of my life now, because after we put up 250 on Houston, who just beat LSU, by the way, a ranked Houston team without Kimo and company playing that day, you had other guys. Young Bear played on the right side that day, and what's his name? Gosh, somehow my Haslam. Sorry, couldn't remember his name off the top of my head for a second there. Donovan Haslam played on the left side at guard, and you had Young Bear on the right guard that day, and I think you even had Carson Lee at center a little bit. I think it was Livingston though. But yeah, and they put up 250 on Houston. I'm not saying they're an elite run defense, but I'm saying you actually had something working and then chose to. I mean, talk about. I was shocked the next week when I think we played. Was it Colorado or UCF? One of those games right there. And it was all the way back to the old lineup again. I could not understand that, man. So maybe somebody can help me understand what I don't understand. But all right, I didn't see anybody respond in the chat to the back-to-back video. Does anybody have any opinion on it? Because I'm fired up right now. I'll go ahead and do it. I was always going to do it anyway. All right, I've had a few people. Okay, back to back. Okay, I get it. Everybody's telling me yeah. Okay, so here's what we'll do. If you can just stand by, I'm asking you to. If you could just stand by. I did a good video for you just now, right? I did a pretty good thing. So I was prepared and researched and all that. And you guys probably thought, how could he do that? It was only just announced. Well, a lot of it has to do with just living through it, like a lot of you all. But let's do another one. Let's just talk Mountaineer football. We ain't got nothing else to do. You can sleep when you're dead. All right, we'll talk tomorrow, or not tomorrow, here in just a bit. Let me get this next video up. I can have it going by 10:30 at the very latest. So we'll go ahead and jump off of here. Probably, I want to talk about Trickett more. I could talk about it for another hour, to be honest. It's exciting. And, we're back. I guess that's the best way to end it. Right? Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Make sure you check out Locked On Big 12 next. And last but not least, our Everydayers Club. I'm glad I'm mentioning this while you guys are still in here. Make sure with the Everydayer Club, you go to the link I'm sending in the chat right now and go ahead and sign up for that. You get ad-free audio, you get a members Discord, and where you can talk to me or Drake Toll or anybody, like it's pretty cool. So check that out, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Like, share, subscribe. See you in 15 minutes at most, where we'll talk about this new player. We're going to watch the tape too. See you then. Oh, don't forget the Q Country Roads.